And a good morning. Welcome into the sports section, live from Brothers Market at 118 South Main in beautiful downtown Sigourney. 641-622-2191 is the number to call if you need something here at Brothers Market. Stop in this weekend, today and tomorrow, for all of your Super Bowl party game needs. Brothers Market, always the host of our sports section, Coach's Show, live here on Steve Shetler Media, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter X, whichever you want to call it. Hey, let's go to Alan and Bruce. They are standing by as the co-hosts of today's sports section. Guys, take it away.
Thanks, Steve. I am Brock Purdy, and along with my co-host, George Kittle, for today. We have a couple special guests here today. Before we get started with our guests, though, I wanted to do a few shout-outs. George, don't let me forget anybody here, okay?
Okay.
Kind of wanted to shout out here, Monday, the Keota boys are playing English Valley for their first district game. Also, Sigourney is at Danville for their first game. Tuesday, and the Sigourney girls are at Melcher Dallas. They're at Southeast Warren against Melcher Dallas. Today, Corey Vandenheuvel and high school boys wrestlers are at districts at Pleasantville today. Kind of wanted to give a shout out to the girls bowling team yesterday. They did really good at their conference meet. And let's see, I believe today the boys are at Pella for their conference meet. And then
They're at Newton. The boys are at Newton.
Okay, boys are at Newton. Okay, and then my last shout out too was I told Rick last night I'd give him a shout out to his wings that are tomorrow for the Super Bowl, and he's got two types of wings. He's got these plain blah Kansas City Chiefs wings, or he's got these really spicy hot 49er wings. So make sure you choose your wings when you order your wings. So the girls here are loving it. The girls here are loving it that work here and make them. So
They love wing days up here, don't they?
Yeah,
They just get busy and
they
busy.
get busy. Bruce, did you have any that I forgot?
No, I don't think so. I think boys lost last night to Waco. It was a good game. Waco's got some big kids.
Yeah.
They got some big kids.
Yeah, they got some big boys, but we got faith in Coach Eslick that he'll get the boys rounded back up and go down there and give Danville all they can handle. So our guest here today, Staff Sergeant Green and Staff Sergeant Foster. I did notice when you guys sat down, though, I don't know if it was a coincidence or not, but right here in the middle of them is this, it says nerds. So, I don't know if that was a coincidence or maybe we set them up a little bit there. So, but anyway, welcome, guys. Thanks for coming today. I guess kind of just we'll start with you, Sergeant Green, here. If you just kind of want to tell us, kind of go back where you grew up, if you were involved in any things in schools, your family, whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. So I graduated from Davis County, class 05. I dabbled in some wrestling, some football. Academically, really wasn't eligible to play. Kind of had some stuff happen in my younger life that growing up in high school I had to kind of pave my own way and figure things out just by seeing a lot of what not to do's and what to do's, I guess. Did some tennis, and in 2004 I joined the Marine Corps. I enlisted into the Marine Corps, and then I shipped out to training in 2005. 2005 I spent 8 years in the Marine Corps, deployed, was stationed in Japan, California, all over, and then 2009 I went to DI school in Parris Island, South Carolina, and I spent my last 3.5 years as a drill instructor in the Marine Corps. And then decided to put focus on my family, so I got out and moved back home. Wound up in Fairfield. My parents kind of moved that way, and my wife's parents moved up that way. And was out for 6 years as just kind of bouncing around trying to figure out something that made me happy. And one day I was driving down the road, seen a sign about the National Guard, didn't know what it was. Called a recruiter. 5 weeks later, I enlisted. About 3 months after that, I replaced him in the Fairfield office, and been here 5 years now.
So when you switched military, do you have to go through like the training and stuff?
No, I didn't have to. So at the time, there was no. If you go to went to the Marine Corps first, coming into the Army or the Guard, or you just come in. Now their regulations change. So if you've been out for a certain amount of time, you need to go back to a type of training. But that kind of situation dictates that.
Okay. And Sergeant Foster?
So I grew up in the Burlington area. I went to Danville High School. Was fortunate enough to grow up in a fantastic family. I have 2 brothers, and we adopted my sister when I was younger. Joined the Guard my senior year. Originally, I was planning on going the college football route, but ended up having 2 shoulder surgeries. So went the military route. Long battle to finally join the Guard. Took about a year and a half and some medical waivers and things like that, but finally got in. Went to training, came back, and then I volunteered for a deployment. So I went to the Horn of Africa, came back from that, married, have a son now, and I've been doing this job for about a year now. So been in for almost 6 years total.
Wow, nice. And while you still got the mic here, kind of what was your decision to go to the military?
It had always been something that I was kind of drawn to when I was younger, but the ultimate decision was just service to my country. I mean, that was the only decision that mattered to me.
Did you have a recruiter come in and talk to you? And
I actually reached out to my boss right now. He was a recruiter at the time, and I reached out to him and asked for the Marine Corps' number, and he gladly gave it to me. And then that didn't work out, so I ended up coming back to the Guard, and then we eventually got things figured out. So I would say that I kind of reached out first.
And Staff Sergeant Green, kind of same question. Just kind of what did you decide, or how did you decide to go to military route?
So my family, all the guys in my family are legacy. They're all been active Army. So I knew at one point I was going to go to the military. I was pretty naive. I didn't know differences in branches. September 11th happened when I was a freshman. I had a phenomenal teacher, good mentor back in the day, Mr. Good. After that first plane hit, he pulled me out of PE, and I decided right there that I need to start making plans to make that a reality. Then one day I was walking into the mall in Ottumwa and just walked into the Marine office, the only guy sitting in his office, and said I wanted to join. The rest was history.
Okay.
So back to your high school days, and kind of explain what sports meant to you guys in high school, how it kind of shaped your life, good or bad, whether it pushed you towards something better or pushed you towards something away from it.
Yeah, so getting into sports in school, it just seemed like everything was going so fast for me. I struggled just trying to understand everything. It just seemed like everything was moving so fast, or there's so many different layers. But I love being part of the team. My friends being out. You had a coach that held you to a standard. And I realized that I do really well knowing that there's goals and objectives and there's things to reach for. Out just on my own, it's a little bit different. You're just kind of wandering around aimlessly. So I think cohesion and the camaraderie you build with the team, and having good role models that are trying to push you past your comfort zone and make you a better person. Because I think ultimately sports is for sports, but there's a lot of things that go in that program of making good community members, just good overall people. So,
yeah, for me, I was a multi-sport athlete. I played football, basketball, soccer, track. So to say that it was a part of my life is an understatement. Really, it was everything to me when I was in high school. Probably should have put more of an emphasis on education for sure. But the same thing Sergeant Green said. I mean, the team aspect, a high-performance team, that was huge for me. Coaches holding you accountable, the role models that they provide. So all those things were great for me. And ultimately, the shoulder surgery sounds like a negative in my life, but really it was a positive because it showed me, how to bounce back from going through hard times. I know there's kids in the community that are going through the same thing. And it can be kind of hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it really can be a positive. So,
oh, good. I guess after break we'll talk about what you guys do for the schools here, because that'll be a big issue. But so like when you guys both first started, in the military, do you see a difference in kids then to now?
Yes and no. Not every kid we recruit as an athlete. There's we get several kids that are not athletes, so physically they're I wouldn't say behind the power curve, but not to where what PE back in the day in high school you had to go run or and now they have different things in this curriculum that they can follow. So I think the ability level is a little different if you get a non-athlete, but I think this generation that's coming in, they're smart. They think outside the box in a lot of ways. Maybe more. They like to explore a little bit more than I'd say my generation. If it's new, you're not as open to go try it out. But I also think the further you get in the military, the higher you go, the more you separate from that lower enlisted or that new group coming in. So you've crossed those hurdles or crossed those bridges where it looks like things, the kids are different, but I think reality is you've just become more accustomed or more used to seeing certain things, that it's the same wave and same issues and struggles, I think. So yeah. You got anything you want to add?
Not really.
So, Staff Sergeant Green, I know you went to the Marine Corps and then you've always been in the Army National Guard. Kind of explain the differences in your boot camp and training from the Marine Corps to the National Guard, as far as, because I know you didn't go through National Guard boot camp, but Sergeant Foster did. Just kind of what the mindset of that is, what the mentality of that is.
Absolutely. So, I guess the functions of what the Marine Corps is used for as opposed to what the Army or National Guard are used for. The 911 force of America is the Marine Corps, the shock troop. They go in real quick, real fast, and they perform their mission, and then they pull back out. The National Guard and the Army, they're designed to come in, training, go 13 weeks. It's high intense, and it's really focused on mentality or mentally challenging, because it's a high stress environment, because they don't want you to not ever see stress, and then you go out, to execute a mission and you get the first taste of stress and you kind of crumble. So that would be the Marine Corps, kind of a high intense and focused on the mentality or the resiliency there. I'll let you talk on the Guard side.
Yeah. I would say there's definitely a lot of similarities. The Marine Corps is probably a little more intense. But, the National Guard boot camp serves the same purpose. We're focused on discipline, all those core foundation pieces that it takes to be a soldier and accomplish the mission. So there's similarities, and pretty much everything that Sergeant Green hit on, I would say, is close to the same for us.
Excellent.
So in both branches, when you do your training, do you see a lot of kids drop out, or do they fight through it? And
we have a tremendous success rate, attrition rate with the kids. So with the Guard, we have a program called, short, it's RSP. It's a recruit sustainment program. So I'll just use Jackson Droz from a couple years ago. He was a phenomenal SK kid. When you join with us, you don't just go straight to training. So they're in high school, and then 1 week in a month they're with us, and we prepare them for basic training. We go to drill. We start working on the mentality, the knowledge of rank structure, and how to stand and walk and talk. We go soldiers. We just give them all the foundational things, so when they go to training, it's not a huge shock to them. So they'll be further ahead, and they get paid for that training while they're with us. So kids are getting paychecks sitting in high school, and so we do that. And then Sergeant Stutzman, up until this year, was kind of my left seat, right seat kind of guy. We started hosting military muscles on Wednesdays, and that's just another chance for us to mentor them and just be invested in them, because they're invested in the organization.
Okay.
So yeah.
No, very good.
So I know I've talked to you on many occasions that you've started, I don't know the particulars, but like bringing schools like Kyoto, I know Kyoto's been there, Sigourney's been there, I think Pekin's been there, Cardinal's been there. Is it like a mentorship or a trainingship that you do, just like a leadership course type of thing?
Yeah, so Sergeant Foster and I, we got asked to go speak with the Washington football team. They do their seniors. They got like a book study thing. So he asked us to come in and be a speaker. So we went in to be a guest speaker, and I listened to a lot of John C. Maxwell. And something he said in there kind of coming back, and I thought leadership is kind of missing in schools, and how to be a leader, and sports is a huge part of education anymore. It's embedded in the schools. So we're coming back, and we started talking like, why don't we do something to help build leaders? Because there's phenomenal kids in these schools that have exceptional leadership abilities, but they just don't know. They don't know what they don't know. So we started hosting a Southeast Iowa Leadership Development Program where we reach out to the school. It's one day. They come in the morning, and they leave at the end of the day. And we work on teamwork. We give them the basics of leadership, kind of fundamentals. And we put them through some communication stuff where it's challenging. They're blindfolded in some of the events. We do lunch, and then we finish with like an open discussion talking about maybe issues, good or bad, that they've seen or encountered, and we just do an open discussion on how to navigate through those things and give them some pointers. So, yep, it's been really good.
Very good. Steve, let's take it back to you for a second.
Yeah, let's look at some of the specials going on here at Brothers Market in Sigourney as they've got their Game Day Wings special. Alan was talking about those wings earlier. They've got a 12-piece for $10.99. They've got a 24-piece for $18.99. Coming up for the big game tomorrow. You can call in and place your order. Orders must be picked up by 5 p.m. I believe that's tomorrow. 641-622-2191. Yes. The ladies here at Brothers Market are giving me the eye. Again, it's the Game Day Wings special coming up tomorrow for the big game. Also, you make sure you get the Brothers Market app. Download that for all their specials. They've got a 3-day sale that is wrapping up today, I believe. You can see the specials there on your screen. That includes blackberries for $1.79. Old Dutch Restaurant tortilla chips for $2.79, and Hillshire Farms Little Smokies, perfect for the game tomorrow. Again, all of those prices you see on your screen are good with the digital app coupons. So check that out. Download the Brothers Market app and take advantage of those specials at Brothers Market here in Sigourney. They are hosting our Sports Section Coaches Show here on Steve Shetler Media. Let's go back to Alan and Bruce.
Thanks, Steve. I was just kind of thinking there when you were announcing those wings. You know, you're always told not to say bomb on an airplane. When you walk into Brothers Market, you don't say wings.
You get things thrown at you.
Yeah, you get things thrown at us. No, the girls are great here. So, okay. Before we talk about what you guys do for the schools, the sports programs, just something I'd like to know is, I watch a lot of movies, but is there ever those guys that join or whatever that are just like 6'7", 240, just jacked? And then I also want to know what if a kid comes to you and wants to join that's like a 5'7", 300-pound kid? I mean, is there like criteria to get into the military or?
Yeah, we've recruited big, just absolute. They're just big kids. Yeah. They're just built. We've recruited, kids like that. We've also recruited, and I'm going to let Sergeant Foster because we have a pretty recent story. That's a phenomenal young man that was overweight. So yeah, there's for your height, there's a weight allowance, a max and a minimum. But on top of that, if you're over that weight threshold, then we'll do a tape test, and you're allowed X amount of body fat percent. And then sometimes there's some different policies that we can follow, different programs where we can get them in on that. But I'll let Sergeant Foster talk about our recent one.
Yeah. So one young man from Washington came to me in September. I did a class there, and he's overweight. He needed to lose about 50 pounds. So obviously he couldn't join at the time, but I told him if you're committed to yourself, I'm going to be 100% committed to you. So from that point forward, he started showing up at my office at 6 a.m. every morning before school. And then about 2 months later, he lost 50 pounds and he joined. So it really just takes dedication and the will to do it, and we can get it done. So,
Okay. No, that's interesting.
And it's good to know and let the kids know that, you know, the military is accepting of pretty much anybody. I mean, unless you're disqualified on something that you can't control, that they will find a place for you and they will help you get to that place. And I mean, when I was in the Marine Corps, I know that's one thing that I really enjoyed. I mean, Staff Sergeant Green said something, they got, you know, limits for how much and how little you can weigh. And when I went to boot camp, I was on the bottom side of that limit, and my drill instructor made me eat double rations every single day, whether I wanted to or not. And I honestly think that was probably worse than trying to not eat.
I was a double rat too.
No, very good. Yeah, so now, you know, I mean, kind of the reason we brought you guys in here too was you just talk about what you guys do for the school, for, you know, the football. We seen the wrestling there the other night, what schools you work with, kind of how that works in the state of Iowa and stuff. You kind of explained it a little bit before to me, but.
Yeah, absolutely. So my area, I'll just start north and go south. I have Sigourney, Pekin, Fairfield, Cardinal, and Van Buren. So those are my 5 high schools that are in my assigned area. Things that we do, really, it's almost kind of whatever you can imagine. We do a football camp in the summer in August, and SK with Coach Jared Jensen and his coaching staff have been phenomenal. I mean, that's like clockwork with them. The day they're leaving, we're scheduling for the next year. So football camps, motivational speakers coming in, talking leadership. You know, with football, we do the jerseys. Wrestling, we've been trying to get into the wrestling. It's good advertisement, and it's another good sport to be invested in. So we got the wrestling mats. So and then the singlets, and then we got female wrestling is sanctioned now, so we got the female singlets as well. Of course, we have Megan Black as a recruiter on our team, who's very well known in the wrestling industry, the wrestling community. So the things that we can do, we just randomly during practices, we'll just show up with Gatorade and water and just give the kids something to drink and maybe give them a positive message or something. But it really stems to the relationships you have with your coaches. I was fortunate to meet Jared in 2019. My very first day of recruiting was the first day of football camp. It was already scheduled, set up, so I just kind of walked in and was trying to learn about it as we were going. And it was the first time they had done that too. But to build those relationships with those coaches, and those coaches will see a huge a buy-in and a reason to have you come in and invest in their program as well. We're looking at some other sports to get into and the ways we can get into them to kind of help support and give that sponsor, or not sponsor, but that marketing in that area. Leadership development programs, motivational speakers. We go into the high schools and just teach classes. It can be to a history class, an English class, math class. We just go in and we talk. We do a Life Beyond High School class. We do a flag class, history of the flag. I've been asked to come in to the elementary here in Sigourney and Pekin to talk resiliency, and so we've done that. So it's not just high school. We're trying to show the community that we're the Guard and we're part of the community. We live here, we work here, and we serve here. So just trying to get that message out. And if a coach has an idea of something they want to do, they just ask us. And your ADs, I've got a great relationship with Mr. Crawford, Mr. Courtwright, Mr. Becker, and now Mr. Weber even now. So we've got great relationships, and it's all about relationships and showing that you want to add value. You're not just there to recruit a kid, but you're trying to make them better people, and the recruiting happens along the way. So do you have anything?
And you guys, also came to our junior high football practice there last year and spoke to the kids, and, that was very motivational. at a good time for us too. So that was very good.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a big crew. It's just like talking to the high school kids. I mean, they're there, they're bought in, they're dialed in, and they listened, and it's awesome to see that stuff. So,
Staff Sergeant Foster, what area do you cover? I know you cover some different schools than Sergeant Green does, so why don't you tell us kind of the areas you cover?
Yep, so I have Washington High School, Columbus Junction, Highland, and then I go north through Keota, Mid-Prairie, and English Valleys. So those are my 6 assigned schools. And then just to piggyback off what Sergeant Green was talking about, really at the end of the day, I mean, we sit down and talk about how can we provide value more than we do who can we recruit, this and that. We both raised our right hand and swore to serve and protect, and that's our duty in this position, is to figure out how we can serve our communities and give back, and that's honestly our sole focus.
So when you guys are recruiting, it's more of like speaking to a group, or do you guys go to an individual, and just like I see on TV, I guess sometimes I want you to join. I mean, is it?
I would say it's a healthy mix of both.
Yeah.
There's some times where I'll use a kid from Mid-Prairie, for example. Sergeant Green helped me out with a career fair when I was out of state, and he quite literally just said, "Hey, you come here. I want you on our team." And now that kid's in the Guard. So, but
awesome.
The majority of the time, I would say we're doing classes, talking to bigger groups of people, and then if somebody shows interest, we'll pursue it that way. So,
Yeah, very good.
So I know, Staff Sergeant Green, you've talked a lot about football camp. Can you explain, like, how that happens, how it's set up, what actually is completed in that football camp up at Camp Dodge, and kind of what you're wanting the results to be?
absolutely. So, like I said, my first day in recruiting was first day at that football camp, and I didn't know much about the Guard at the time. I was still new. So the way we kind of do it is with Sigourney, with the SK program, we do a 3-day camp. So they show up around 11 or noon the first day and get them into their barracks, their big open squad base, about 20, 30-man rooms. So they kind of divide them out, let the coaches figure out how they want to put those athletes in there. The coaches have a spot, have their own spot, and then we have a kitchen or a chow hall defect, whatever you'd like to call it, where the community is amazing. The support here, they bring a ton of food, usually more than enough. We have a little classroom where they can eat on that kitchen, go film and whatever they'd like to do. We set the standard when they first get there, tell them the expectations. And then we do the leadership reaction course, which is about 12 different stations, some dry, some are wet, like over water. So if you fall in the water. We've done the confidence course or the obstacle course. Last year we mixed it up and we threw paintball in there. Kids loved that. Coaches loved it. Except for Coach Kelly. I don't think he liked it as much there at that last.
I take it he lost?
He rolled his ankle.
Oh.
That's it. The goal that we're after is getting those kids out of the norm, out of the comfort of going home after practice and, cell phones, playing on cell phones and games or whatever, and just let them stay overnight in with their guys and build camaraderie and that unit cohesion. And I work on drill. I love marching. So one thing we do is one of our evenings we'll start marching to a cadence, and they start feeling it and they hear it and they like it. And then we do it on our military appreciation nights as well. We march them out and with a cadence, and they just discipline, just all the basic fundamentals of being a good person, good athlete. I think one thing Coach Jensen really takes away from it is just letting those kids have a little time to just hang out together outside of structure. They got downtime, they go back and they just relax, and that's where your relationships are formed inside those students. So,
no, very good. For both of you, though, I know you kind of work with different schools. Is there one school that you enjoy going to a lot more than the other ones, or do you just kind of have your relationships with each school? And I'm sure that there's probably people from every school watching, but
This is like when Alan and Bruce ask kids who their favorite coaches are. This is,
we always like to put people on the spot a little bit.
This is a good, tough situation for sure. I have
character.
Oh yeah, a lot of things build character. I have great relationships in all of my schools. I love going to each one of my schools, and there's people in those schools that I just have those great relationships with. Community-wise, Fairfield's been phenomenal, but I can go anywhere in Sigourney and somebody's talking to me. It's a very small, tight-knit community. That's a tough one. I can't say I have a favorite because I love the whole thing. I love the relationships and the people in them, you know. And you really kind of got to watch that because there's people that go from one school to another school in my area, maybe teaching here and now they're going to teach somewhere else or vice versa. So you just never know.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to pass that towards you.
Good call. For me, I'm still very new, so I'm still within or just past my first year in. So those relationships are still continuing to be built and flourished. So every school is so different. I mean, one school I have a great relationship with a principal. You know, another one my go-to is a teacher. So it all really just depends. But yeah, the biggest thing is they're all different. Highland's different from Columbus. Washington's a bigger school, so they're all very welcoming. And they're just great partners for us.
So do you do anything with Danville or?
I do not, no. I may go there and talk sometime. My coworker covers Danville, and he's asked me to potentially come down there and talk, and I would be more than happy to. So.
Sure. Yep. And same as Davis County. Do you ever get down there?
Actually, so up until this year, I used to cover down on Davis County with Sergeant Stutzman. We used to cover everything he has right now, plus everything that Stutzman and Ottumwa has, Davis County, Morton Udell, Centerville, Albia, Moravia, Eddyville, Ottumwa. So we, Sergeant Stutzman and I used to cover this entire area first year and then last year. But we've been fortunate to have Sergeant Foster, who sells himself short, too, because he graduated basic training and then got selected to go to Ranger School. So this young man's a Ranger as well.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. Steve, you got any questions for the guys?
I was just going to hype up my Athlete of the Week, if that's all right. We'll bring that graphic up on the screen as we've got the Keokuk County Hospital and Clinic's Athlete of the Week. Of course, a new poll starts every Monday morning. We're featuring a bunch of area schools: Sigourney, Keota, English Valleys, Tri-County, Pekin, EBF, Montezuma, Oskaloosa, North Mahaska, Ottumwa, and Cardinal. So be on the lookout for the weekly poll that goes up on Monday mornings. Of course, this past week, it was all about Rihanna Utterback, our state champ from Sigourney Keota Wrestling. She was dominant last week at the Girls State Wrestling Tournament, and Rihanna dominated the voting as well in our Athlete of the Week poll. So she was just named officially our Athlete of the Week once again for the second time. She had it late last year, and once again this week here on the Steve Shetler Media Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages. The Keokuk County Hospital and Clinic's Athlete of the Week this week, Sigourney Keota Wrestling's Rihanna Utterback. And again, the new poll will go up on Monday. And just keep in mind, we always put up a post on Facebook that asks for your nominations. And when you put those nominations in, they are based on the previous week's activities. So, just keep that in mind. You don't want to nominate somebody that had a good game a month ago.
In 1989.
Or 1989.
So you can't nominate Allen from '89 basketball?
Allen had a heck of a game way back when.
I remember scoring 4 points once.
He was 2 for 35, I think.
So yeah, just keep in mind it is for the previous week as far as accomplishments. And so what do we got going on this week? We have basketball. We had the Keota boys
district
remaining
wrestling
undefeated.
today. Yeah, district wrestling.
District wrestling's going on
boys
for the
and
boys.
girls districts basketball.
Carly Goodwin hit 1,000 points this week against Keota. Not all in one game, of course, but for her career. Just nominate the athletes that had a good week
bowling.
this previous week.
Got
Bowling
this weekend.
We don't want to forget bowling. We will get glared at and have things thrown at us as well here at Brothers Market, where we're bringing you the sports section coaches show. Guys, what do we got? Do we have pick'ems?
We do have pick'ems. Steve, did you have any more questions for the guys?
I was just going to say, of course, you see you guys helping out with our area athletes and really cool things. Didn't I see a wrestling mat that you guys had made up? It was just a really cool visual for some of the. Was that Sigourney Keota Wrestlings?
The state, we bought 3, so we have a Western, a Central, and an Eastern mat. And they used it for the Soldier Salute big tournament that they ran.
Okay.
So we brought that down with singlets and Sigourney. We used it in Fairfield for a big tournament too. So just a coach reaches out and inquires about it. We try to support.
Yeah, very neat stuff.
No, and Steve, also on your Athlete of the Week, I did see too, Ayla Hall, one of our Tri-County HLV girls,
Yes,
got her
she hit
500th point, and I think, is she a junior maybe, or
yeah, she's got a ways
sophomore,
to go,
junior?
so,
but yeah, I did see she hit 500.
She's pretty
so
young, yeah.
that's pretty cool. My last question here for you guys is, as on Rihanna Utterback, have you talked to her any, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a phenomenal kid. She's very intelligent. She's driven. She's got goals. I know one of her mentors would be Megan Black. And Megan joined the Guard and went into the WCAP program, the World Class Athlete program. So that's definitely been conversation with Rihanna. And I think we're trying to get it set up next week where we'll be talking with Megan and trying to get everybody together and get on the same page, because her birthday's coming up in March, so it could be in her near future. So
Good. I know she mentioned to me too about a military, route here first too. But speaking of Megan Black, I got to meet her there a couple of years ago. I know Bruce did too. And I'll tell you what, when she shook my hand, I didn't know if I was even going to have a hand left. That girl is strong. I couldn't imagine wrestling her.
I've got a very strong handshake, and when she grabbed my hand, I'm like, oh, whoa, this.
Yes, Mrs. Black.
Yes, Mrs. Black.
and when you talk to her, she's just the nicest person you could
Absolutely.
ever. You would not see that handshake coming at all.
And what's crazy is I wrestled her dad when we were younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So no, very good. So, Bruce, you got anything else?
The only thing I got is so explain on like the football jerseys, the wrestling singlets and stuff. How the process works to get those. Do you pick the schools? And then I know you said you're working on some other stuff. Do you have like basketball in mind, maybe track or baseball or something like that?
So we've talked baseball. That's been in the conversation for about 2 years now, and basketball has been a conversation that we're exploring, whether it be warm-ups or the jerseys. Just trying to look. Volleyball's been another one that we've been talking about. So a couple things. The best way for a school or a coach to get those is just reach out to us and say, hey, we're looking at doing this on this day. Can you support? It's kind of a first come, first serve. So like Lee, he will, with that wrestling mat and those singlets, last March he texted me and said, hey, I heard you got this coming. I want it on the calendar right now. So he's looking at.
You should have made a deal with Lee and said, "We'll be there if you wear a singlet to the meet."
I'm trying to.
Please watching too.
I hope he is too.
I'm trying to keep that relationship healthy.
I don't know if anybody would want to see that.
And if he did, Al would have to go wrestle him.
Hey, before we get into our pick'ems, let's bring up that graphic up next. There's the pick'ems standings. Check that out. The guest pickers are in the top spot with 54 points so far in this season of picking. We've got Bruce. Bruce has jumped up to the number 2 spot with 53. Myself, I'm hanging at the 3rd spot with 52. And then Neil, who is on medical, what do we call him? The IR right now,
Yeah, he's
injured
on
reserve
IR.
right now. Neil Crott and then Allen are tied at 51. So we're all definitely bunched up there. Again, the guest pickers at 54, and then they're in the top spot. Allen and Neil with 51 are in the bottom spot. So we're all definitely within reach for our pick'ems. What are the pick'ems?
So
for this
today
weekend?
we got Staff Sergeant Foster is going to be our guest. Staff Sergeant Green is going to be Neil today.
Okay.
So these are all counting here. So yeah, what we got here, guys, is 10 picks, and then I got a special Super Bowl pick for 5 points at the end. So we'll start with Staff Sergeant Foster here. Our first game is high school basketball. Monday night, Sigourney at Danville.
I'm going to go with Danville.
I'm going
And
to
once
go
again, he is a
Sigourney.
Danville guy. So
I know, yeah, that's why I was.
I'm going
what'd you say? What'd you say, Kyle?
I'm going Sigourney.
Okay. Sigourney and Danville. Is this boys' bet?
Boys.
All right. And you said Danville has a couple of 6'7" kids?
I think they got a couple decent sides. They're the 4 seed, we're the 5 seed, so
Boy.
and their records are pretty identical.
Yeah, that's a tough call.
Yeah.
I'll be a homer and go with Sigourney.
Yeah. It'll be a tough game, no doubt. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Coach Eslick will get them rounded up again, hopefully, and hopefully we can escape with a victory out of there. So, let's see. Men's basketball, Iowa State at Cincinnati.
I'll go Iowa State.
Cincinnati.
Oof. At
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Do you have a record on Cincinnati?
I do not.
Well, thanks.
But I think Iowa State's, they're ranked like 14th, I think.
Yeah. I'll go Iowa State.
I'm going to go Cincinnati. Kansas at Texas Tech.
Do we got any info on them?
We do not. I know Kansas is good, but
We'll go with Kansas.
I'll go with Kansas.
Kansas.
What the heck? I'll go Texas Tech.
I think I'm gonna go Kansas. And then that game is actually Monday. So today, Baylor is at Kansas.
We'll go Baylor.
I'm also going to go Baylor.
At Kansas?
Yeah.
Kansas.
Kansas.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Kansas. That's another good matchup, though. Staying with men's basketball, this is today's game. TCU at Iowa State.
Iowa State.
Iowa State.
Iowa State.
State.
Hilton Magic. Yep. Let's see. Tomorrow, Minnesota at Iowa men's basketball.
I'm going to go Minnesota.
Iowa.
Iowa.
What was that noise that just came out
I
of your
was hesitant.
That's pain.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This year's
Agony.
Hawkeyes, it's just, I don't know. You never know. I'll go Iowa, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just going to go Iowa because they're at home. Otherwise, I don't. That's a pretty good matchup too. And then Wednesday, Iowa is at Maryland men's basketball.
I'll give Iowa that one.
I'm going Maryland.
Maryland.
I'll have to say Maryland.
Oof. Yeah, I'm going to go with the home team, Maryland. But I am a diehard Hawkeye fan. Okay, then we'll switch over to women's basketball tomorrow. Iowa at Nebraska.
Iowa all day. Caitlin Clark.
I'm from Nebraska, so this.
Oh, boy.
We'll go Iowa.
No wonder Jensen likes you.
Yeah, we found the true secrets.
Yes, sir. Iowa.
What does Caitlin need for points?
39.
Caitlin goes for 40. Iowa wins.
I think Iowa wins, but Caitlin goes for 38, so she can set the record at home.
There you go.
I really believe that. So, which comes to Thursday night's game is Michigan at Iowa women's basketball.
Iowa.
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 So if that's the scenario, Caitlin gets 2 points, and Iowa wins.
And Stokey gets 60.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going with the Hawks too. There. Obviously, the Super Bowl here for 1 point is the Chiefs and the 49ers. But along with that, I want you guys to predict the score. And if you get the score right, it's 5 points.
Select them with Sellers.
Select them with Sellers.
I'm going to stick with the 49ers. Brock Purdy, George Kittle. Man, the spread. I'll go 35-21.
You look uncomfortable.
I'm going to just reverse that and go 35-21 Chiefs.
I'm going to go with the Niners, and I'm going to say the score is going to be 38-35.
I will say Taylor Swift. Oh, wait a minute. We're talking football.
We couldn't get through the show without talking about Taylor.
If I was on camera, I'd give the heart for Taylor. It's Taylor and Travis and Patrick, 28-27 over the Niners.
Ooh.
And then, of course, Travis Kelce proposes midfield for the win. And then she rejects him and writes a song about it.
I'm going to say 31-17 49ers. And at the end of the game, I think Taylor Swift trips down the steps, gets a bloody nose, and it's all over.
And the next day she writes a song about a breakup.
And a broken nose.
Nope, that's our picks for today, Steve. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be getting a hold of you this fall to, do something with the junior high boys again. That was awesome last year.
That was awesome last year. Thank you both for coming in, taking your Saturday, and come and talk with us.
And a lot will depend on who wins the Super Bowl of which route we go.
Yeah.
Staff Sergeant
we're
Foster.
only
or Staff
calling one of
Sergeant
you.
Green.
And we would like you to donate some wrestling singlets for Alan and Bruce for next week. So we want to
We
see
can make that happen.
Not happening.
We'd have so many viewers it wouldn't even be funny.
We'd break the internet.
We'd have to go on a subscription-based program.
and the mat would have to be this big because on a regular size mat I've got like 15 seconds in me.
Yep.
Okay. Well, guys, thanks for coming in today. That is your sports section coaches show. Do we have anybody lined up yet for next week, Alan?
No, I do not.
All
Trying to
right.
get Rihanna, actually.
Yes, Rihanna, Caitlin Clark,
Yeah,
Carly
Caitlin
Goodwin.
Clark we've been working on for like